Hey guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today we are back with another reading vlog. I told you guys that I am trying to vlog more. So today, not only are we doing a vlog, but we're doing my first ever 24-hour reading vlog. Of course, I've seen lots of these posted over the years and I've always said I was gonna do one, but I never have the time to do it, but I've actually made time this weekend. So I've done everything that I need to do. It's around 4 p.m. right now. So I have 3 books that I'm most definitely going to try and get through during this 24-hour vlog. Now, if I can get through these 3 books, then I will most likely try and start and finish another one. Might just try to start another one. We will see. But all 3 of these books that I'm going to try and read, they come from my fall TBR video. So if you guys have seen that video, then you are probably familiar with the 3 books that I'm going to try to read. So the first book that I have here is The Rue by Alan Baxter. This is horror. It's about a killer kangaroo. This is really short. I think it's less than 200 pages. It's only 121 pages, so this is going to be the first one that I'm going to read. Next, I have William by Mason Coley. This is a psychological horror, and this one is about a house that is being haunted by AI. I actually have wanted to read this one last year, and I didn't get a chance to, but this is only 213 pages, so this will be the second book that I read. And then the last book that I'm going to attempt to read, this is going to be Whispers of the Lake by Shanora Williams. This is my first book by this author. This is a thriller, and this is about a investigative reporter trying to look into the disappearance of her friend from a cottage in North Carolina. This one, I know it's less than 300 pages. It's only 259 pages. So all 3 of these books, I'm sure I can read them in 24 hours. We are gonna start with this one. I'm not going to do like a mid-read check-in just because this is so short. So I'm just gonna read this one and I will tell you all about it in a few. Okay guys, I'm back. It's about 6:30 and I have finished the first book, The Rue, and this was something. So just like I said in the beginning, it literally is about a killer kangaroo that is terrorizing this small town in Australia. And this kangaroo is like 7 feet tall. It's super duper muscular, and it has like these orange eyes, which you can kind of see like here. And it's just terrorizing everybody, men, women, children. It does not care. It is after everybody. There is one death that I wanted to talk about because I was just blown away. I couldn't stop laughing because I was just trying to picture this. So this kangaroo was after this family, and it ended up killing the wife, and it like ripped its arms off, and then it took the woman's arms and started beating the husband with them and then killed the husband. So if you can imagine like what kind of deaths took place in this book, it was something like that. I did kind of like where the story was going. It has like this side plot of this woman that is being abused by her husband that plays a part into this whole situation that's taking place. So I did like that. I liked that it was short. It got straight to the point. This is definitely one of those stories that did not need to be dragged out. But ultimately, I think I'm going to just give this one 3 stars. I was definitely entertained while I was reading it, and it was a fun time. So I'm going to be reading William next. So this is the one about the house that is being haunted by AI. I'm probably going to read about half of it since it's over 200 pages, and then kind of give you guys an update and give you some more specifics about what it's about. But before I do that, I'm gonna stop and get something to eat Then I'm going to jump into this one. Okay, so it's a little after 9:30 and I am exactly halfway through William. So now I can give you guys a better idea of what this is about. And it's actually a terrifying idea to me. So we're following Henry and his wife Lily. They are both engineers and they live in a house where everything is like voice activated. If they want to like open or close a door, they just tell the door to like open and close and lock and whatnot, and they can do that to a lot of stuff around their house. The wife Lily, she's pregnant, but she's an engineer that deals more with like computers, and Henry is an engineer that deals with like a lot of, I guess, robotics. So he has like a lot of little gadgets around the house. Like he has this one little doll that's like a magician that rides around on a bike in the house. And then he has like this like robotic dog that has like patches of hair that like roams around the house. But his big project that he's working on is this robot called William. And William has been like a secret to everybody. Even Lily hasn't seen it. But Lily invites people over to the house. A thing about Henry is he has a really bad anxiety and he doesn't go outside. He doesn't interact with a lot of people. I think it was called like agoraphobia or something like that. And she invites some coworkers. And so I guess he gets the courage to go ahead and show them William. And they're a little put off by him because this robot is extremely intelligent, but like it's half built. It doesn't have any legs. It uses its arms to like get around, but he's only had it upstairs in the attic. So they meet William. There's like an incident that happens with this robot and some stuff happens. Now all of a sudden they're all locked in this house, and then the story is just kind of going from there. I'm actually really entertained by this, but like the idea of robots genuinely scare me. Like something that is potentially smarter than me. This book is reminding me of, I don't know if you guys remember that old Disney movie that's called Smart House, where it was like, I think it was like a maid or something, and she was like, the house was basically smart. It could do a lot of smart things. And then it's also reminding me of that horror movie Megan, with that robot Megan. It's reminding me of the same robot as William and how smart they are. But yeah, just AI in general is something that is so terrifying because it's just weird to have something like a robot that is potentially smarter than you, especially if you didn't make it to be that way. And over time, it just gets smarter and smarter and smarter. And that's kind of like what's happening here. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I only have a little over 100 pages left, so I definitely will be able to get through with this within like the next hour or so. So I'm hoping that I will continue to enjoy the rest of this. And I definitely will have time tonight to start my third and final book. And I might be able to start a fourth tomorrow. So I will catch up with you guys in a bit. So I finally finished William. The last 100 pages took me so long to get through. Like the first 100 pages, I was hooked. I was very interested in the story. I thought it was really fast paced, but then like as soon as I started the second half of the book, the pacing slowed down tremendously and it just kind of felt a little repetitive to me. Now, I will say the last 20 pages, I was surprised with where the story went and I actually enjoyed it. So I think At this moment, I'm probably just going to rate this one 3 stars. The main purpose of this book and the main thing that I took away from it was just the dangers of AI. I think we are all familiar with like the surgence of AI within these last couple of years, some pros, but a lot of downfalls to using it, and just how really smart and advanced that technology is, and then the effects that it potentially has. So I did like that in this story. And like I said before, anything that has to do with like robots, it automatically like scares me, because that's just a really scary concept with just dealing with something that could potentially become smarter than humans. So overall, I enjoyed this. I just think that the second half of the book was just entirely too slow for me. Now, I do want to go ahead and start this before I get tired. I am starting to get a little tired. It is after midnight right now. So I don't think that I'm going to get that far into this, but I would like to start it before I actually go to sleep. So the next time that you guys see me will be later on in the morning. Good afternoon, guys. It is the next day. It is almost 12:30, and I feel like this 24-hour reading vlog has gone off the rails. Okay, so when I ended last night, or shall I say really early this morning, I said that I was going to start this. I in fact did start this, but I only got like 13 pages in before I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to bed and I'm gonna wake up really early in the morning and continue on with this, because I was hoping to try to fit in another book. However, by the time I got in the bed, I was perusing Netflix, as one does, because I'm one of those people that I like to just fall asleep to something. And I saw that 50 Shades of Grey was on Netflix. My intention was to just turn it on and then go to sleep. However, I actually started watching it. And then when it was done, I was like, well, I can't just watch the first one. I have to watch the second one. So I was thinking I was going to start to get sleepy in the middle of the second one, but I did not. And then I was like, oh, I have to watch the third one. So I was up super late or early this morning watching the 50 Shades of Grey series. I didn't wake up until about 9, almost 10, but I did get almost 100 pages in. I'm on chapter 22. I am on page 99. Now, I also have some other stuff to do today that I didn't think about before I started this vlog, so I probably will only be able to finish this by the end. Nonetheless, here we are. So in Whispers of the Lake, which before I even tell you what this is about, I actually did not realize that not too many people have enjoyed this one. So I kind of went into it a little hesitant. But anyways, so in this one, we're following this investigative journalist, Rose. And within like the first chapter or two, and these chapters are really short, so it's at the very beginning of the story, we find out that her husband actually cheated on her. Like, she caught him in the act. And then she had a waiting to exhale moment where she took all of his clothes and burnt them up outside. So we find that out. Then, right after that happens, she gets a call from her ex-best friend's sister, Zoe, who is saying that she cannot find her sister Eve, and she wanted Rose to try to help her figure out what happened to Eve, because Eve isn't answering her phone, and that's not typical Eve behavior. So Rose is very reluctant to help her because Eve is actually the one that slept with her husband. That's not a spoiler. That happens very early. So Rose is like, I kind of don't really care what happened to your sister, which is fair, understandable. However, Zoe doesn't really realize why they're no longer friends, but Rose decides that she is going to help her, and she finds out that a couple of days before Eve basically fell off the face of the earth, she had rented a cottage in North Carolina. This book takes place in Charlotte. So it was like some small lake that she rented a cottage from. And so Rose rented the same cottage, hoping that she will try and figure out what happened to Eve. When she gets to the cottage, she finds out that Eve was in fact there because she starts to find clues that Eve was there. And that's kind of where I'm at the story. She's just trying to figure out what happened to Eve. The chapters are really short. There are some journal entries in here sporadically from Eve that kind of gives you some clues into what possibly happened to her. But so far, I think it's fine. I thought the beginning of it was hilarious when we were talking about her cheating husband. But outside of that, it's reading like your typical thriller book. Like nothing about it is standing out to me. I am getting through it really fast because it probably only took me about an hour and a half to read 100 pages just because the chapters are short and it's just getting straight to the point, which is kind of what I like. So far, I can't really understand why so many people have rated this one lower, which kind of makes me nervous about the end because I wonder if that is what people didn't like. But so far, I mean, I have a few theories into maybe what happened to Eve, especially from her journal entries. So we'll see. Like I said, I have some other stuff that I plan to do today, just some stuff I normally do on Sundays, like washing clothes and just getting ready for the week. So I will be doing that while I am reading this. So I will get back to you guys most likely at the end of this vlog. So I'm back with my final thoughts for this 24-hour reading vlog. So I was able to finish this with a few minutes to spare. I did take quite a few breaks while I was reading this because like I said, there was a lot of stuff that I was also trying to do in between reading. So as of right now, I think I'm probably just gonna settle on 3 stars. I actually thought this was a pretty good thriller. It wasn't anything that necessarily blew me away, but I also don't think it was anything that just wasn't good. So the second half of this definitely picked up, especially like the last third. It got pretty chaotic, but in a good way. There was just like a lot of stuff happening and a lot of things that were revealed. Now, for the most part, I predicted about 90% of what is happening. I think this is one of those books that if you read a lot of mystery thrillers, you could probably tell the story is going. But there was one thing in here that I did not see coming, and I enjoyed that. I also kind of enjoyed that the lady that went missing, Eve, you find out a lot of stuff about her, especially through her journal entries, that made you really question whether or not this would be a person that you would want to search for. It was definitely a dilemma for our main character, Rose, because a lot of the stuff that she found out about her ex-best friend, Eve, was stuff that actually affected her and in a negative way. So I like that the main character had to really sit with herself sometimes and just be like, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my time searching for this person? Because I don't even know if I like her. So again, overall, I thought this was pretty good. This definitely has made me want to pick up more from this author. I know they've written other thrillers that I want to check out, but also somebody had told me in one of my videos where I mentioned this book that this author writes in other genres as well. So I'm curious to check out books from the other genres. So we'll see. But going back to the other books that I've read for this vlog, William, I rated 3 stars. And then The Rue, I also rated 3 stars. So I think even though I didn't find a book that was like a complete standout, I was hoping that something would have been a 5-star read. At least I enjoyed all of them. I had a fun time reading them, and I actually had a fun time doing this vlog. So you guys may see more 24-hour reading vlogs from me. But that is all that I have for you guys. If you have read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts down below. But I will see you guys next time. Bye.